All right, so I'm back. So hi, hello, whatever you do, and yeah, today's video is gonna be about trades. One of my videos recently bombed. If you like the video that you currently see, I would appreciate if you go to see that bombed video. It's the only one on the video as of late that has an actual thumbnail. I did do some talking about the Kevin Durant trade in that video, so really quickly, I want to do that, but it was more of like a Phoenix Suns thing, and me talking about what the hell's going on in Phoenix and what they should be thinking about, versus really a trade talk about the Rockets. I'm gonna pull up all of the trades that have happened recently. I'm gonna probably cover them at a much more surface level than someone whose job it is to really talk about these things. But I still think it's important to have this video on the channel, because it'll illustrate a moment of history that we're currently in. And even more importantly than that, it really shows you how the league is thinking as a whole and how some teams are just not thinking, to be quite honest. So really quickly, I'll do that. You'll notice a lot of themes in these trades and what's going on. To be quite honest, I'm just going to probably pull up Shams' tweets, and that'll be it, because that's about as much information you really need on these news. Shams does a pretty good job breaking it down. Let's hop on Twitter, look at Shams' tweets, and we can take it from there, right? So really quickly, because this is a trade video, we should probably talk about, let's just talk about we'll talk about the Magic trade. So the Magic, right? So, got me real quick. The Magic had the first trade. This was even before the offseason started, during the finals, where they traded Bane for 4 first-round picks. He demanded 4 first-round picks. Now, I've already covered this trade. I think it's a good trade for them, because not only does Bane fit their timeline, he gives something that they really, really desperately needed on this roster, which was spacing, shooting, and a little bit of playmaking. Obviously, you're still going to want Franz and Paulo to be your primary playmakers in terms of that. But he does add playmaking to the roster that this team desperately needed. And Suggs, if healthy, can be a good playmaker. Now, they're still not going to be a great offense by any means, but yeah, they are improving. I think it was a good trade. The picks that they in fact did trade in that trade were most of them weren't theirs, and then they were spaced out. They're not. A lot of these picks are, quite frankly, not going to be worth that much, especially if the Orlando Magic continue to be a decent team, and with the East opening up even more and more, and a lot of these teams that you're used to seeing are going to fall apart over a couple of years. It's really unlikely that this Magic's team crumbles in such a way where these picks really hurt them. And some of these picks aren't even theirs. So them getting that from them, not even bad. And the players that they lost out on in that deal were Cole Anthony, which he's a fine NBA player, but he's not really a great NBA player by any means. Just kind of a fine NBA player. Sorry, I had to adjust the camera. Just didn't really like the way it was shot. But yeah, I doubt that those picks will become anything significant. They gave up Cole Anthony and KCP. Was surprised they were able to get out of KCP's deal that they just signed last offseason, and considering how terrible he played in the playoffs last year. I'm going to talk about another playoff dropper in this video. I just want you to know that whatever I say about Jalen Green, and whatever I say about him, maybe even at Dylan Brooks, even though I think he played fine in the playoffs against the Warriors, I just want you to know that this nigga played so much worse in comparison. KCP, you should be locked up for the amount of money you just stole from them for that playoff performance. It was truly something. It was something horrific, to be quite honest. I have never seen a player drop that badly in the playoffs. He was awful. Okay, so we'll do some other free agency stuff too, because this video can't just be all trades. Some trades that have happened recently, and not as recently, but another trade that happened during the finals was the Kevin Durant trade. This one happened on the day of Game 7, so I'm pretty sure most of you are much more familiar with this one. So the reason why this is big, right, is one, the Rockets did not give up a lot to get Kevin Durant, and that's a problem for Phoenix. I'm gonna be honest, Phoenix botched this trade in a way that I didn't think was possible. Because yes, everybody knows that you were trying to get rid of KD, and you're a failure to do so at this trade deadline, and that being very public is bad. And everyone knew KD wanted out, right? I mean, of course he wanted out after that season, right? But to really illustrate how terrible this deal was, I want you to think about this real quick. Everyone knew that KD might end up on the Rockets. This was the thing that people have been predicting for months. And that was since the Suns' picks were traded for by the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets acquired a lot of Suns picks from them. So my bare minimum, if I'm negotiating, right, we make the salaries match up, whatever. That means I have to take on Dylan Brooks' money, which is gross, right? And the fact that he's 6'5", right? So these guys are all like, everyone on that roster is like 6'5", so they're all like shooting guard height, right? Everybody knows this. You look at it, if you look at a depth chart for them, it's shooting guard, shooting guard, shooting guard, shooting guard, shooting guard, right? Which was already a problem last year, right? And now it's gonna get even worse. Jalen Green was an asset that they were. I struggle to even call him an asset, to be considering what he did in the playoffs. 13 points, which is heavily inflated by one really, really good game over the course of 7 games. That's it. They didn't make it out of the first round because of Jalen Green's lack of offensive production, and I just mean production in general, not even efficiency, just production. Yeah, that's how bad that was. By the way, I just want to point that out. So, they don't get any picks back from Houston, which is terrible. They gave up Kevin Durant, which is bad, but it was something that was going to happen regardless. They don't get any of their picks back. They have to take on Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green. So unless Phoenix is looking to rebuild right now, which they should be looking to rebuild, because if I'm Devin Booker, I want the fuck out of this shit now. I want out yesterday. This deal sucks. And the number 10 pick, by the way. Just in case you were unclear, I did do a little bit of coverage on how Miami completely failed to get a Kevin Durant. I don't know why they were pursuing him, considering they just were unwilling to pay Jimmy Butler that amount of money. And Jimmy had given them tangible results, and every team that trades for Kevin Durant winds up spending a little bit too much, which is why they lowballed him. They lowballed the fuck out of Kevin Durant when they tried to get him. They were unwilling to move like anything to get him. And I know you don't want to move Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo, but like Jaime Vasquez, you don't want to move that guy. You don't want to move Nikola Jovic. You don't want to move any of those guys. None of them. Like some Kyle Ware or something. Like none of those guys you were willing to move off of Pat Riley. The fuck? Why were you even in this trade talks now? Let's get his sleepy ass the fuck out of there. Y'all were talking about Joe Biden being sleepy and ineffective as a president. Dude, this guy, and he's just the president of a company, I think he botched it worse. Because sleeping in the trade deadlines. He needs to go yesterday. He needed to be gone 2 years ago, at the minimum. Pack him up. Yeah, by the way, just disgusting. It was a disgusting low ball. They were unwilling to move picks. And Houston was willing to move the 10th overall pick, which is a higher pick than they were willing to move. I think that's insane. All right, let's talk about the other trades that everyone's here that are new and people want to still talk about. Drew Holiday back to Portland. So Drew Holiday never played a single game for Portland, so you might be wondering why am I saying back to Portland. Initially, when Drew Holiday was moved off the Milwaukee Bucks, he was sent to Portland, and then he was later rerouted to Boston in that same trade. So, really quickly, I just want to talk about this. The Boston Celtics gave this man an extension after they won the championship, right? And it was a pretty hefty extension. Now, I'm not sure how much money he's currently making, but I can go ahead and Google that real quick. Drew Holiday contract. It's a massive reason why they moved on from him. Because he's, aging, and he's like 35 right now. Let's see, in last year, he regressed last year. Also, he was injured last year, too. Let's look at his contract. And this is fair for me to do because they're professional basketball players, dog. That's most reasons why people are moved. I'm not looking at Dale from accounting and his money that he made. That's his career earnings. Bro is looking at to make a tune of $32 million, and it's a contract that continues to go up. So 32 million is what he'll be making next year, 34 million the year after that, and 37 million the year after that. They had him under contract for that long, and they didn't want to do this. They're looking to retool and get younger. That's why Boston moves on from him. But why is Anthony Simons in this deal, a young prospect from Portland that I just could not see them moving on from? I thought they would at least try a little more and see if Scoot fails. If Scoot fails, you already have Anthony Simons, who's pretty much looking like he wants to do his best Dame imitation anyway, and you were very content to run that back with Dame for so long. I had no idea why you would trade this guy. So Anthony is on an expiring contract next year. I'm actually not sure how much Anthony's going to make, but I can look up his contract real quick. Anthony Simons. Thank you, Google. Sportback.com. Let's see. He's only making $27 million. And by the way, I just want to put this out. This is the last year he's under contract. He's making $27 million, and he'll probably make around the exact same amount of money on his next deal. But here's the thing for him, right? He's basically a rental. They don't have to keep him if they don't want to, if they don't see any signs from him. And if they do keep him, they'll probably keep him for cheaper than what he's making right now, or something close to this, right? Which is much cheaper than what Drew Holiday was making. My thing is that not only did they get rid of Drew Holiday in this move, Drew Holiday's pissed about it, which is also a funny aspect about the trade, but they got second-round picks tacked onto this. They got 2 second-round picks out of Drew Holiday. How? That's general wizardry from them. Good move. It's a solid move. I think it's a kind of it's not really a lateral move. Obviously, they're really looking to make some declines and stuff, right? Because Tatum's not going to be playing next year, like at all. It's certainly something. And also in interesting news, New York Knicks are trying to hire an assistant from the Minnesota Timberwolves staff. Yeah, let's talk about another trade. So Washington traded Jordan Poole. I did not see this coming. I knew Jordan Poole was on the move, but I didn't see him moving to New Orleans to be paired up with Gumbo boy Zion Williamson. I didn't see this coming. I didn't, to be quite honest. And here's what he was traded for. He was traded for C.J. McCollum. I didn't think C.J. would be on the move, but I knew C.J. couldn't stay down there in the fucking bayous of Louisiana. It's, man. They got a second-round pick, Kelly Olynyk, and the 40th round pick as well. And the 40th round pick had to be moved from Washington down there. So these picks suck, by the way. I just want to point that out. These are, by the way, those are future second-round pick they were getting. They're not even getting one this year. And they're also losing out on Sadiq Bey. To be quite honest, there's not a lot of talent moving in this thing. The best player is C.J. McCollum. So if you want to give the Wizards praise for that, sure. But honestly, this is a pretty lateral move. It doesn't really change anything. And they have Chris Middleton on the roster, so I have no idea why they traded for C.J. McCollum. I haven't graded any of these trades before. Sorry, so I will real quick. Kate for the Suns, F-tier trade, fucking terrible, god awful. For the Rockets, A-tier trade, good move, great move. For the Magic, B-tier trade. For the Grizzlies, B-tier trade. Pretty fucking stupid, but not that bad. If someone approached me with 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bane, I'd be like, yeah, go ahead, give me that. I'd be like, absolutely, go ahead. Hand it over. For the Celtics, A-tier trade. Great move, in my opinion, to get rid of Drew Holiday. You didn't want to pay him for that much, obviously. And for the Portland Trailblazers, D-tier trade. Why did you trade for Drew Holiday? If you wanted Drew Holiday, you could have had him the first time, and he would have been better. You traded for him again after he regressed. So do you think you're going to move him in another deal? Are you going to buy out the rest of his contract? Which, why would you? I don't know what's someone has proposed a buyout, and right, and that's stupid. He's first of all he's under contract for 3 years, and second of all, that's $90-something million plus that you'd be wasting, close to 100 mil to be quite honest. That's a stupid idea. For the Wizards C tier trade, why? It's a Y trade, to be quite honest, as in the letter Y and as in the word Y. Because what the fuck is this trade? And for the Pelicans, cool, dude. Jordan Poole after you got rid of Brandon Ingram, all right. You moved out of CJ McCollum, that's cool. I don't know why you're still committed to Zion Williamson as an idea, but here's another trade from the Celtics. Because the Celtics are looking. Everyone knew that the Celtics were going to look to reorganize this year, which is a fancy way in corporate saying we're firing everybody. Basically, they didn't fire Joe Mazzulla. I don't think they will, unless his coaching is really not that good next year. Even though the roster is going to be how do I say this politely? Dog shit. So here's what Atlanta, and Atlanta was in this trade with Brooklyn as well, in this 3-team trade. Come here real quick. Kristaps Porzingis and a second-round pick was sent to the Hawks. Terrence Mann and Atlanta's number 22 pick was sent to the Nets. And Georges Niang and a second-rounder was sent to the Celtics. So for starters, that's to me, right? This is less value than what you got out of Jrue Holiday, which is insane to me. And I know it's because, Porzingis is injury prone, and I'm surprised you were able to get rid of him in the first place. But I really don't see a reason why you would want to get rid of him because of how dynamic he made your offense. Georges Niang is not going to do that. As someone who had Georges Niang on his roster even last year, I know for a fact that he's not going to move the needle. I actually was so happy that he was traded for. It was insane. By the way, just want to put this out to everyone who's living in Atlanta and may or may not be a Trae Young fan in the same way that Devin Booker should be asking for a trade. Trae Young, demand a trade. I demand a trade. Get me the fuck out of here. I don't care where it is. I do care where it is. It's going to. But get me the fuck out of here. Trade me now. You know where I said this before. I don't know if it's been in a video, but if I'm Trae Young, trade me to Orlando. That seems like a good idea. Trade me to Orlando. That seems like a great place to be. Now, Orlando does not have the capital for Trae Young. Those 4 first-round picks that they traded would have actually been the perfect package to get a Trae Young. And I think he fit into Orlando really well, but I don't know. If I'm Trae Young, I want out. By the way, places where I can see Devin Booker going, that would be nice. Detroit is nice. It's a very good idea, in my opinion. They need a shooting guard. He fits them. He's from the city. All of that good shit. Very nice storyline. And he can play for a franchise that, used to be a poverty franchise instead of currently and still is one, So there's that. Kyrie. Let's talk about some two moves from the Mavericks real quick. Kyrie declined a $43 million player option. So when I read this headline, I was like, "What the fuck is Kyrie Irving doing?" I'm like, Kyrie, you are already damaged, right? You're hurt, right? And you're not gonna play next season. I'm like, how are you gonna How are you going to make this make sense, right? The Mavericks immediately offered him a $119 million contract. It's a 3-year contract. Let me see if he actually got the money. Negotiated with them. Out of free agency. Yeah, the Mavs keep him out of free agency. If I'm Dallas, I'm not doing this shit. Cause why would I? I'm like, look, Kyrie, we love you, right? But you just saw us trade away Luka. What makes you think you can stay on this roster? With this ACL injury, right? We'll give you the $43 million, right? You've already earned that one. We don't know how good you're going to be after your ACL. Your Achilles injury, right? You're already allergic to contact, right? I don't, why would you do this? Nico being Nico Harrison. That's why. And if I'm the Mavericks, I'm like, we're drafting fucking Cooper Flag, dog. We don't need you that much. We're going to draft Cooper. So, I don't know. Don't give him this money. If I'm Dallas, F tier move. Cause why the fuck would you do this? It doesn't make any sense to me. This is dumb. Let's talk about another move they made though. They gave let's see, one of the centers, Daniel Gafford, got an extension. A $60 million 3-year extension. It's $20 million a season, right? Nothing crazy, right? So nothing terrible. By the way, it's fine. It's fine, right? I think he fits. He obviously fits Dallas, right? He's good in Dallas. Now he's not as good in Dallas as if you still had Luka, obviously, because that guy's a lob threat, and that's the reason why you traded for Daniel Gafford. Last year, right? Not last year, 2 years ago. At this point, yeah, fine, but like, I don't. This is a fine move because $20 million is not crazy, and he's a serviceable big. That's around how much a serviceable big goes for. I don't understand why the Mavs would be looking to run anything back that isn't Anthony Davis. And even Anthony Davis should be ran back with scrutiny because, the guy's injury prone. He got injured last year. I know he came back and he played after that, but that's also seeming. I'm also just going to take a wild assumption that he was playing through an injury, which, dude, your season was already lost. There was nothing to gain from that. I don't really get it. Anyone else that I think could be on the move to be blown for something to be blown up? Let's see. Is there anything that's just terrible and clearly not working? Miami's not going to move anything because of Pat Riley. Atlanta should be looking for Trae Young. Suns should be looking to deal Devin Booker. Obviously, they can't get rid of Bradley Beal. I don't know what Indiana's going to do. They have a lot of cap space. They could look to sign someone just in this time. If I'm them, I'd take a year and probably, because Chris Paul's a free agent, I'd probably go, yeah, let's go grab Chris Paul. You can overpay him for a year or two, right? And then be for just really a year. You never know how Halliburton's going to bounce back from an injury. I do think he'll bounce back, but with modern medicine and stuff. But I don't think that you should just use the year to recover. You still have guys on the roster. I think it would be a good idea to look at something. Just look at something. You have a lot of money. To do something with it. I'd do something. Miles Turner is also up for free agency. Probably look to re-sign him for a cheaper deal if you can. Is there anything else? OKC's going to run everything back. They're on the something timeline and contract. The Lakers should be looking to get a new big, just any big. I guess that's probably another reason why they snatched up Daniel Gafford. Lakers should be looking for a big. Is there a glaring weakness in Minnesota's game? Point guard. They need a new point guard. I don't know where they're going to get it from. They drafted a point guard last year, and he didn't play any minutes, which means he doesn't have any of the backing or the trust of the coaching staff. Look for Julius Randle to be on the move. I thought he would be in a deal with the Suns because they basically had a finalized deal for a KD trade. I'm not really sure what you do now with him. Yeah, those are my thoughts, to be quite honest. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. If you want me to cover more free agency stuff, say that, because the last time I covered a video about stuff like this, it did not do well. With all that being said, have a good day, and do whatever you do, dude. Have a good day. Like, comment, subscribe.